there all. So today we are going to be talking about what is due. So let's get into it. Today is the video for Thursday, October 1st. And I did change a little bit of our course schedule, so I would like to go over that with you all just briefly. Okay, so I did change up our schedule just a little bit. So what you should have been working on for Tuesday is the paper invention and drafting work for SA2. So hopefully you're still working on that. And if you have not already, definitely should be drafting the DCA reflection letter as well. And definitely continue annotating the Rob Walker article and also complete the class discussion about the article and continue drafting the second paper. And the article or the discussion for the article can be found under discussion boards and under the class discussion Rob Walker article. And the class discussion is due on Thursday, October 1st, so tonight by midnight. And I will be grading the class discussion boards. That will be for participation. So anyway, what we're working on today is an online writing workshop for the RA or paper 2. And I also have a mini lesson about MLA style and direct quotations. And we will continue drafting the RA paper 2 for next Tuesday. And please note the draft for the RA is due by next Tuesday because we will be doing a peer review workshop. So next Tuesday we'll be doing peer review and you should be working on final draft revisions then next week. And then by next Thursday, the essay number 2 RA final draft will be due on Blackboard by midnight via Dropbox. So hopefully that explains what's going on. So right now, what we're going to be concentrating on is the online writing workshop and the mini lesson I have about MLA style and direct quotations. And also drafting the RA paper 2 for next Tuesday. So I have a lesson on here for the writing workshop. So if you go under lesson and then scroll down to online writing workshop, that is the lesson I'm going to be going over in this video today. So the draft of the RA is due for peer review next week, like I said. So what I'm going to be doing now is a review of invention for paper 2. So this was the invention slide I had in that other lesson that I went over on Tuesday. So thinking about the sample paper in our class discussion, here's an invention exercise to get started. What do you think about the impact of technology? Are Walker's claims valid? Thinking about the article, Walker expresses concerns about security and privacy when it comes to devices like Google Home or Alexa speakers. What is your stance on this issue? Do you have concerns about security and privacy? And lastly, do you think Walker's claims are an effective argument? And why or why not? And thinking about this will help with the invention of your thesis statement for the second paper. Now going from there, I have the invention of body paragraphs here as well. And that is something you should be doing over the weekend. Hopefully everyone has their introduction thesis statement all set and ready. And hopefully now everyone will be able to move on to their supporting reasons and also the body paragraphs. So the subpoints and reasons. The reasons why the text should or should not be published are indicated in the topic sentences or near the beginning of each body paragraph, not in the thesis statement. In order to craft your reasons, you will need to draw upon the rhetorical analysis skills we practiced in class together. So to put it another way, the support for your claim rests on your analysis of the composition. And to put it another way, you will need to ask yourself whether the author of the composition you are analyzing makes effective ethos, pathos, and logos appeals. So in terms of evidence or supporting details, what will you fill your body paragraphs with? You will need to provide supporting details that fully explicate your reasoning why you believe the article should or should not be published. Supporting details provide support for your reasoning, and you can use the following invention questions to aid in providing supporting details. So here's the invention for logos, ethos, and pathos. And this is actually directly from the guidelines. So reason one is ethos. Your club advisor will need to know how well the author employs ethos. To determine if the composition is effective on this front, ask yourself, how does the author establish credibility? What experiences or credentials does the author point to? Is this sufficient to convince your audience? What other people or sources or experts does the author refer to? Are they sources with high ethos? And you can also consider publication venues, dates, and the author's use of quotations and citations. So for reason two will be for your logos or your logical appeal. Your club's faculty advisor will need to know how well the author employs reasoning in the composition through the logical use of terminology and ideas. In order to check for effective use of logos, you'll need to identify the author's main explicit or claim and supporting reasons. Is this reasoning logical? Are there exceptions to logic? And if so, what are they? How could the author have been more reasonable? And you can consider secondary or implied claims here as well. Now, for reason three for pathos, your advisor and peers will be interested in the author's use of emotive or emotional appeal. You'll have to consider who the intended audience of the article might be and how well this aligns with your audience. And ask yourself, who is the author aiming discourse at? Who do you think the audience is intended to be? Does the author appeal to the values of that audience and to your audience? Consider places where the author appeals to emotion or imagery and examine the tone and style of the piece. So here are the links for paper 2. I have the links to the guidelines here and also the invention in class discussion and also to the sample paper. And if you need further writing help, you can make an appointment with the Learning Center for Tutoring. And if you click on this page, it will tell you further information and instructions on how to do so. But if you would like additional help from me, you can stop in during my office hours tomorrow on Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. So here's an article that I have included that I would like everyone to read in terms of using direct quotations for the RA. And if you take a look at the sample paper, there are direct quotations. Now, for now, we're not worried about in-text citations, but if you wish to use direct quotes, they must be surrounded by quotation marks and then used within the context of the article. And I have a link to a Purdue OWL article here. Now, Purdue OWL is a wonderful resource for research writing and writing in general. And this tells different techniques on how to use quotations, how to paraphrase and summarize. And it also gives you examples. So that is the MLA mini lesson that I have included within this lesson for today. So taking a look at the sample paper, you will see a lot of direct quotations that the student used. And this was a quotation that I found within one of the body paragraphs here. So what she did here is that she wrote big business is about the almighty dollar rather than thinking about the safety of others. So what she's doing there is building her logical appeal. And then she goes on to say, for example, Walker implies Amazon claims to have sold more than 100 million Amazon devices, a bragging form to make Amazon seem like a legit, safe, and reputable company. And that's what she's really doing there, is sort of critiquing Walker's use of logos within the article and saying it's just not effective in terms of an argument. So this is an example of using a quotation from Walker's article, and then the student supports her own claim by using the author's logic or logos against him. Therefore, this is a smart rhetorical move because she uses an example from the article to suit her own claims. And anyway, just as a sort of mini review from last week as well, I do have the paper guidelines and materials. And if you go under paper 2, you can find links to the guidelines here. You can also find the sample paper here. Now keep in mind the sample paper is one where a student disagreed with Walker's argument, and it's really up to you if you want to write a paper either supporting Walker's argument or going against it if you do not agree with him. It's really based on your opinion. But also keep in mind that the rhetorical analysis really is based on building logos, ethos, pathos, and of course a thesis statement that you can defend by identifying evidence from the article. And that's what these direct quotes are doing, is building this student's particular argument. And that's really what I'm trying to say within that lesson. But a lot of the students' body paragraphs had a lot to do with talking about Facebook. She also talked about security and privacy concerns when it comes to smart speakers. And she also talks about her own argument and sort of ties it all together, and she does very well with that. You can also find that there is no tech backlash article activity, which I would definitely highly recommend doing. Continue taking annotations, continue highlighting, because again, it will be graded on how you take notes within your final portfolio. Or you can also find the article here. And of course, you can always print it out and take notes and take pictures of your notes later on to include within your final portfolio. It's really up to you how you would like to do that. Anyway, that is it for today. So I have gone over the online writing workshop and the lesson about MLA style and direct quotations. And just as a reminder, please finish drafting the RA for next Tuesday. Thank you, and I hope you all have a wonderful day and a great weekend.